guitar was a pretty magical connection. I had met Thomas Blug, who's a fantastic guitar player. I had seen him a couple times in different trade shows that I was at. I had no idea that he built amps. And he had just finished the prototype of the Amp1. He had me plug into it, gave me a guitar, and I was freaking. He wanted to do all kinds of testing and the things that you do before you release something. And when I finally got my hands on it, I was like, because now I can take this thing, you put it in your purse, you can slip it right in your gig bag, it's that small, and it's 100 watts. It's amazing. It's such a revolution that you really have to educate people as to what it is. Because even after I've told people it's essentially a Marshall head, they'll come up to me later and go, so it's just a preamp, right? And I go, no, it's a preamp and a power amp, tube-driven by this nanotube. So you get that really authentic analog saturation. 4 channels. Before this, I was using processors because 99.9% of my gigs, I had to jump on a plane. And so you can't take a head unless you want to spend thousands of dollars, you know? Going from processor models, I kind of forgot what an analog amp would do. And when I finally got this and could bring it anywhere in the world, it's really changed my sound, and sound is everything. When your sound is good, you're inspired, and you can create more and emote more. Because Thomas is such a great guitar player and tours himself, he knows what guitar players want. And he thought of every possible configuration that we would want. It's got its own reverb in here, like a spring reverb. Global EQ, but you can also tweak the EQ of the separate channels here, so you can really personalize your sound. It's got a noise gate, one for metal that's, you know, if you're gonna turn to 11, this will keep your butt quiet, or a softer one. You can change the tone and the volume, so you can make sure that you change channels and the volume is consistent. And that's one thing I found with a processor. If I was going from one sound to the next, if I had different models, even though it sounded the same volume in the studio, once you get into clubs with different gain structures going on, it can be a big jump between them. So that was a real blessing. Doing the 4-cable method, you got the choice of an 8 or 16 ohm cabinet, which is cool. Also a recording and headphone out. So late at night, if you're in an apartment, you can rock to your heart's desire, or you could send a direct signal to the house. If you got a gig where maybe New York City, you don't want to be taking a cabinet to the gig, you can go direct if you want. You have all possibilities with this, and I use the 4-cable method, which basically means you can have whatever effects you want before the preamp and other time-based effects between the preamp and the power amp. But like I said, he thought of everything. He also has a little thing that will connect to it with the accessory. You can get clean and boost, and then here you can program your favorite distortion settings. Just phenomenal. The Fat Cab and the Nano Cab both have 12-inch speakers they're based off the greenbacks, but they're BluGuitar speakers. They're more powerful. The magnets are more powerful. And the Fat Cab magnet is a bit more powerful than the Nano. And then he also has the 212, if you want more. And I did a tour with Thomas, and he was using a Fat Cab and a Nano, and I was using 2 Nanos, and you do not need more volume. It'll fill any room. Everything that he comes up with, I didn't know I needed that, but if you came up with it, I want to know about it. And so he told me this blue box was coming, and this thing is phenomenal. It's got impulse response technology, and he's got 16 different speaker models. My favorite that I've used is the Marshall Stack 1965. I end up going back to that always. But not only do you get the speaker models, but he's got a virtual amp or mic placement knob, which is phenomenal. It's like you're getting turn it this way and you're getting closer to the cone or more on the paper. You know, I mean, everybody that's recorded at home especially knows what it's like to have the speaker in the other room and you got a mic on it and you're not, you know, you hear it in the room, it sounds great, you go back to the board and it's like, meh, that sounds nasty. So you go back 500 times, moving the mic just a quarter inch here, back and forth and back and forth. By the time you're ready to play, your inspiration's out the window. With this, you just sit there and listen to the studio monitors and dial it in exactly how you want it. And honestly, I have given away all of my mics. That's how much I believe in this. I started recording with it and was so happy with the sound. That's all I need. You can go from the Amp1 directly into speaker in, because it doesn't need a load. If you have a different amp, you're gonna need a load first. And he's got a through. And so the way I was recording today, I went straight out of the Amp1 into the speaker in and went through into the cabinet. So it's going direct as well as their mic in this cabinet. It also has a line in, line out. It's got 3 different positions. But this is another thing. This and the Amp1 go in my carry-on always.